So hello good people of the internet, this is Tommy Kelly and this is the next video in the 47's complete video series. And I'll tell you what, it's extremely cold here in frosty Ireland, but I've brought you out to a place called Richardstown Church, and it's an old church here in Ireland, just on the outskirts of the town of where I live. And the reason I brought you here is because it has a particular magic feel to it for me, and of kind of an atmosphere of magic, and I thought that was quite appropriate to the topic that we were going to talk about today. And the topic is just a general introduction. There's going to be a few videos on magic rather than one big long video that we had for the divination, just because there's a few different areas that I want to just cover. Now, this is not going to be an extensive look at magic in any sort of way. This course is about the 40 servants and not magic in general, but I thought it would be important to go through each of the different stages anyway, at least touching them, so that you will then be able to, if you want to know more about it, you can go in that kind of direction and you know where to go. So the very first question that we have to ask when it comes to this is, what is magic? What is it when you hear people talking about magic, or when you hear me saying it, or when you read online or in cult forums and stuff, and they talk about what is magic? And the first thing you'll notice is that an awful lot of people spell magic with a K. So M-A-G-I-C-K, and while a lot of people dislike this, particularly people dislike it because it then makes the spelling of magician quite awkward. Do you put the K in, do you not? So the reason why people add the K is to distinguish it from stage magicians, like the card tricks, Houdini, Paul Daniels, David Blaine, all of this, that kind of stage magic. So it's kind of to separate that. And the person who's most famed for having put the K back into magic is Aleister Crowley, and he's not the first to do it, but he's the person who's kind of mostly blamed for it. When he did it to make the word fit up better in a kind of a numerology sense. That's not the word, and but I'm not going down that that whole train. And his definition of magic is the art and science of causing change in conformity with will. Now, I'm not going to go into that too much, because if you say anything about Aleister Crowley, people go insane and tell you how much wrong you are and how you don't know about anything, and that's, again, not where I want to go. He also said that every intentional act is a magic act. And I think there's something in that, and I can talk a bit about that, but I don't think it, for me, and all of this is going to be my opinion, I don't think it covers enough, because I certainly have done magic unintentionally, where like your subconscious stuff is doing stuff where you just thought about stuff and then happened and all that kind of thing. So his definition, just wanted to check it out if that's where you want to go. It's but there's probably other definitions that are more useful for this kind of thing. Alan Chapman says, when he's asked what is magic, and his answer is, every single person, man, woman and child in the world knows what magic is. And I think there's a lot of truth in that. When we think of magic, we do kind of know what we're on about, with a general feel, but I don't think that's probably too helpful overall, because is that Harry Potter magic? Is that magic, like, is that Reiki, or what there still has to be some sort of definition of what magic kind of is. And his is the art of experiencing truth, where he would say that rather than reality, the materialistic reductionist kind of view on the world, he would say that that's the false and the magic is the reality, and doing magic and all that brings you to actually see reality as it is. So kind of the spin on, is magic real? It's actually, is real. Other kind of definitions are Gordon White from runesoup.com, as he describes it as probability enhancement. And there is another definition of magic that I really like, that I can't remember who said it, but if you know, let me know. And it is getting lucky on purpose. And I think that's a good one. Like that's kind of both the probability enhancement and getting lucky on purpose really covers an awful lot of what magic is. But for me, not fully, because there's a transformational or transformative, if that's a word, aspect to magic that isn't covered by just getting lucky on purpose, or probability enhancement, or making things happen, making things more likely to happen than not happen, or you know, that sort of thing. And that would be the element of magic that I'm into as well, would be like this kind of transformation where the magician becomes a greater person by the act of doing magic. So it's in a sense closer to what Alan Chapman's talking about when he says the art of experiencing truth. So it's more like a journey in a sense, but it still has to encapsulate all the probability enhancements, the will, all of these different things, because they're parts of it. It's not just, I like all things, I think there should be a balance in these things. It's not all about just getting the stuff, and trust me, I'm into getting the stuff too. And it's not all about becoming, you know, the spiritual being, or, you know, the perfected master or the ascended master or whatever. So I think it has to encapsulate or include both of those kind of elements of living in the material world and trying to get stuff to happen and getting, you know, the things you want to make life better for you, to be more creative, to reduce your problems, or to get more interesting problems that you can grow, all that kind of stuff, you know, better jobs, better relationships, all that kind of thing, and the overall revelatory kind of things of finding your place in the world, finding what the world or the universe is about, who you are really, the spiritual aspects and all of that. So for me, magic has both of these things. And this would be the point where I come out with my definition of magic, and I don't have one. I generally don't have one, because as a chaos magician, which I'll talk about the different modes or the different ideas of magic in the next video, but I kind of like to be a bit more flexible in that. And what I think of today as magic might be slightly different tomorrow, and I'm okay with that. So I think our best is to develop what our own sense of what magic is, and spell it whatever way we want. If we want to delineate it from, you know, the magicians, stage magicians, we can put the K in, or as Grant Morrison does, change the I to an exclamation point, or call it something else. There is a thing where people go, why call it magic at all? And because that's what it is, and people know it's like the Alan Chapman thing, is people know what you're talking about to a large extent when you say it. So if you come up with something, like people have tried to come up with new words for it or whatever, and, you know, a lot of the new age is just magic with a different name, you know. So, but I like the word magic, and I'm okay with it. I'm more okay with it now than I was, you know, over the years, trying to be, in the sense, a bit embarrassed by using the word or whatever, saying you're a magician or whatever, and it's still a bit odd too. But so yeah, to pull this all together, magic, we all know what it is. It's getting stuff by doing a ritual, by you know, doing one thing to get something else in a kind of spooky woo-woo kind of way. It's not getting a key, opening a door. It's getting that door opening in some sort of magic, unbeknownst, supernatural kind of way, with some sort of influence on that. At least that's what it feels like. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the ideas people have on why magic works, and you know, what is the mode, or what is the you know, how it actually, the actual thing, the function or the mechanics of it that makes these things actually work. So watch out for that one. Good people of the internet, be well.